Hi, I'm Emily and welcome to my channel Workflow Pro. Today I'm going to show you how to make a Smartsheet dashboard. If you are used to making things in Excel and like pasting your charts and putting them in a PowerPoint, welcome to 2025. This is going to be so great for you. All right, so before we make a dashboard, we have to actually make our sheet and have our data source, and then from there we will create different reports and widgets to put on our dashboard. So for this example, I have a volunteer sign up sheet where basically volunteers are signing up and I'm capturing different pieces of data. So I want to roll this into a dashboard that's going to automatically update when new volunteers sign up for this process. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go to create, and then here you have the dashboard/portal. I've actually never heard anybody call it a portal before, so that's interesting. And we're going to name this volunteer dashboard. And then we'll click into it and I'll just kind of give you a little high-level tutorial. So on the right-hand side, you can click that little pencil icon, and this allows you to get into the edit version of your dashboard. From here, you could do like a theme. I'm not really a big fan of the themes personally, but if you do have like brand colors, this is a really great place for you to use the brand colors here. I'm just going to do a simple one for now, and then you can play around with that if you're interested. And then this little plus button is to add a widget. This is basically where everything's happening with regards to building out your dashboard. So you can add a metric widget, chart, yada yada. I'll go through some examples for this. For now, let's add an image. So I always like to start with the title of my dashboard and maybe like a logo. So I'm going to grab this just generic logo for my volunteer dashboard. I thought this was kind of nice. So I added that image, and you can fill it, change things about it, put a title on it, whatever. You could actually, which is something that's really nice, is if you have a lot of like icons that you want to make clickable, you can do that here, and you could like have it open to another site. But my widget is just going to be basic. So now that I've added the widget, I can click out of this, that's fine. You can save as you go along, but I'm going to go right into adding a title with like logo. So I'm going to spread this out, and I'm just going to call this volunteer dashboard. There are some limitations on the fonts that you can use. I like Tahoma, and then I'm just going to make it like huge, and you can really drag this around, which is really nice, and kind of center it how you want. So let's just say this. And then when you click save, you'll kind of see what it looks like as the finished product. And yeah, so that's my image widget, my title widget. Now let's start actually putting data on here. So if I go back to my volunteer signups, what I'm going to want to do is pull information out of here and put it into reports so I can use those reports to create charts and other reports on my dashboard. So what I've done, which I've shown in another tutorial video that I have, is how to use this sheet summary. And really the only thing I did to make the sheet summary was I added a new field. You can name the field here. Let's just do total signups. I'm actually going to move this up a little bit. So if you need to move your fields up, let's just say I want to move this to the top. Okay, so maybe I want total signups to be here, and then you'll put in a formula. And the thing about these formulas is you're going to want to reference the entire column. So I don't necessarily like click that column header. What I do to set my formula up is I'll just grab any cell in that column, but I'll take the row reference out. So I took that one out and I just copy, and now I'm referencing that entire column. And then I'm going to just say not blank. So that's what that means. That means not blank. And that's counting how many people's names are in my volunteer name column, which is a required field in my form. So it's going to count the total number of volunteer signups. So that's a little tidbit on the sheet summary. So what I'm going to do is pull reports from the sheet summary so that I can create charts on my dashboard. So I'm going to save, and I'm going to go back, and I'm going to create a report. And I want it to be a sheet summary report. So I'm going to do t-shirts, t-shirt sizes, and make it a sheet summary. And then what I'm going to do is find my volunteer sign-up sheet and pull that into the report. I'm going to choose the fields that have to do with t-shirts. So you can even search in here. And then click next. And I don't need any kind of filter on this, so I'm just going to apply. And that's one report that I'm going to use for a chart. I'm going to save as new, And I'm going to do volunteer areas. And I just saved as new so that one, my sheet references are going to be in here. And then all I have to do is modify the columns that are pulled in here or the fields that are pulled in. And I'm just going to go through this and select, I'm going to also select total number of signups and then the fields that I want to roll up into my graph. All right, so now I have another report. This is a sheet summary report, and I'll show you the difference between sheet summary and a row report. So now I'm going to create a row report, and I'm going to call it volunteer report with comments, row report. And again, I'm going to come into here and choose volunteer sign up sheet. Then this is pulling information, the columns from my sheet versus in the sheet summary, it's pulling fields from my sheet summary. So I'm going to take sheet name out. I have volunteer name, which is already in here because it's the primary column. And you can rename this so it shows up correctly in your report. But I'm going to need phone number. Let's just say I want their comments, their email, and where they're actually assigned and where they prefer to be assigned. So in here, I want to see where did they want to work and then where am I actually assigning them. And I'll click save. And maybe we drag the comments out on the very right. So now this is a row report that is pulling from my sheet. Now let's put this all together. So we have 3 different reports that we want to put on this volunteer dashboard. So again, we'll go into our dashboard and we'll click edit, and then we will do a row report. So we'll add this report in here. So we'll add the volunteer report with comments. And then I just kind of like to move this around. So let's just have this. And then what I also like to do is you can remove the formatting. So you can remove this yellow out of here. If you had a Gantt in here, you could hide it. The reports group, you could collapse it. But I'm going to have this. The thing I love about Smartsheet is I can change the widget behavior. So instead of somebody not being able to like click into this to see more information or make an update, you can actually update it to the open based on the data source. So what that means is if I need to assign one of these volunteers a task, then I can come into here and I can change this, to event cleanup or whatever. So that's what's really nice about adjusting the widget behavior. Next, I'm going to add a chart, and I'm going to use the sheet summary reports that we created to make the chart. So you'll click into here, and I will select my t-shirt sizes. And again, it makes a nice graph for you, and then you can actually, adjust your graph so that, okay, I want to see it like broken down like this. Let's say I want to change the color so it's like not such an ugly blue, and I always want it to show the label value, and then maybe I want the legend to be at the top and not necessarily on the side to make it kind of nice. So this is a really good part of adjusting the graphs. You can also use brand colors here too. So if you have brand colors and you want your dashboard to be really aesthetic, you can put your hex code in here and make the brand color. You can adjust the title of your chart as well. So volunteer t-shirt sizes. So that's kind of nice. You can change the font and all that jazz as well. And then again, same with widget behavior. If you want it to open up to the data source, then you can do that here. If you want to change the viewer mode, you can do that. But these are really the basic things that I do for charts in Smartsheet. And then I always am like copying and then pasting and then just changing the source. I don't know why I'm addicted to that. I just think it's easier for whatever reason. And so now it'll save the same like title. So you do need to edit this. You can go into here and again, just do the same thing. So under data, chart, and type, so if you collapse all of these, this is what the widget editor looks like. So under data, chart, and type, you can switch rows and columns. You see how it already changed it since I copied this first chart over here. It made it the same color. So if you're doing things with the same brand colors over and over, that's a really easy way to kind of keep the consistency. You will have to modify some things. And let's just say I don't want this legend at all. Like we know what we're counting here. So you could take it off like that. And then again, just like making some adjustments if you wanted to. Could do that and pull this up. Or if you wanted to make this like a pie chart, can make it a pie chart, and instead of percentages, you could make it an amount and maybe even display it as a semicircle or something. Personally, I think I like the donut chart better. Big donut girl. But yeah, so we have volunteer t-shirt sizes, and then we have the volunteer area here. So it's showing us a total breakdown. One thing to note is you see how total signups is like in the middle, which looks kind of bad. So let's change that. And again, I like to make all of my charts typically like open to the data source so that if I need to edit, I don't have to remember or like look up where the data source is. I could just click into here and then edit from here. And what I want to do is I want to pull this total sign all the way to the right so that on the chart it'll move all the way to the right. So then I can see, okay, 5 people have signed up. This is where they've been assigned, and maybe I call this assigned area. So now I'm looking at this. I know I need to assign somebody to volunteer coordination. So yeah, this is a pretty basic dashboard. Some other things that I like to do, especially for things like this where it's like a sign up situation, is I will go back to the sheet and I will grab the form link, which I like. So I'll grab that form link and then I'll go back to my dashboard, and I like to add the shortcut here. So I'll paste the link in and then name it. And then you can make these stacked. So if I move myself so you can see it has a nice little form icon automatically, and I could add a title to it, or I could just kind of let it float about, which I think is fine. And you can use the quick keys here. So I just use Control X, and then you can Control paste it wherever. Paste it up here if you wanted to. Another really nice feature in Smartsheet that is within the last year or two is you can consolidate empty space. So you can right click anywhere on your dashboard, consolidate empty space, and it'll kind of move everything up. So of course it didn't do it for this example, but let's just say I have this here and I want to consolidate empty space, it'll move that up. It's not always perfect, and I do highly recommend, instead of dragging things everywhere, I highly recommend Control X and then pasting it where you want. You just have more control over your widgets, basically. Some other things to note, you could pull metric widgets into here. So if I wanted to go to my volunteer sign up sheet and then grab information from my sheet summary, and if I wanted to display the total number of signups, then I could just grab that field, and again, I could stack it so it looks really nice, and I could blow that up huge if I wanted to and put it somewhere. So if you don't love the charts and you just kind of want some high level metrics up here, then you can do that as well. Another thing you can do is add rich text. So I do this a lot if I'm just kind of adding in descriptors onto my dashboard, maybe calculation methodology or quick notes or whatever, to help people understand what's going on this dashboard. Then I could add a rich text box. This is just a static thing that's going to live on your dashboard that you're not going to change, but maybe is an FAQ, or it could be an FAQ, whatever makes the most sense for you. If you like this video and you're kind of into Smartsheet now, I highly recommend checking out my video on mastering automated workflows in Smartsheet. It will absolutely change your life and make your processes 100 times more efficient. So check out that video and subscribe for more Smartsheet videos.